When you hear the sound of the bell, you know you in the championship rounds with King of Essex. And today I got some help, homies. When I talk about this thing of ours being a thing of ours, I was just telling my good brother right here, Boog Williams, I want him to introduce himself, but this is a great opportunity for us to spar and to share information, to share knowledge about boxing, and specifically, y'all know my wheelhouse, women's boxing. So I'm gonna let the good brother introduce himself and give his socials so you guys can find out where he is at.
Yo, what's good, everybody? I'm Boog Williams. Y'all can find me on Twitter at Boog Williams. I'm also on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram, L Does Boxing. You can find me on YouTube, L Does Boxing. So just feel free, man. Tap in. I'm here to talk about this boxing with my boy King Amin. So what's good?
Hey man, listen, usually I take these to the dome, pause, but this is fun to bring you aboard. So we're gonna, my format, I pretty much like to run through what I think is the best of what's going on in the news cycle. And what's currently in the news cycle, the biggest news is, of course, the GWOAT Claressa Shields capturing a championship in the fifth division. I actually had it twisted. I was saying four, it's actually five. With a you know, destruction of Vanessa Lepage-Joanisse. I don't know if I got that right, but Shields got it right. What do you think of the performance, and where do we go from here?
It was a good performance. She was sharp as normal. I didn't expect that power to come that early. I mean, I was expecting maybe a late stoppage or just her outboxing her over 10 rounds. But it was a good performance and she made a statement. And I think she can stay at that weight, because I feel like she has some challenges there. It may not, because see what it is, it's confusing because they say heavyweight and you go on box rec, you'll see like 10 heavyweights, and you're like, who is these girls? But you
Mhm.
go to light heavyweight, you'll see some other names that I think she can compete with, even the girls at 168.
So that's really, I think, where most people, everybody was impressed, and just going back a bit, they was impressed with the development of her glutes, which I think contributed to the power. Then they was impressed with the manifestation of the glutes because it manifested to a knockout. And then now I think people want to know, what can Shields manifest. The discussion has been about Danielle Perkins has been a name that's been thrown about. She has the healthy rivalry with Franchon Cruz Dezern. We're not getting, I even jumped out there just to ask a question because I like to, see what's going on. I asked her, would you consider fighting a Layla Ali or Ann Wolf on the undercard of a Jake Paul, which is absolutely ridiculous. But in my mind, I said, well, that's the older, respectfully, the original Ann Wolf, because you might be avoiding who some consider the modern Ann Wolf and Shadeja Green. So, not to say scared, duck, we're not going to use any of those terms that we typically bandy about on the men's side, but realistically, I'd love to hear your perspective on what we think is next for the GWOAT.
So it's two champions at 175. I'm gonna say 175 instead of heavyweight because that's
Mhm.
a weight limit. So you got Shay Canali, she's a WBA champion. She just won the title. She fights in New Zealand, and then you have Laney Daniels. So if she fight both of them, she gonna get some pushback. I would much rather see them two ladies unify, and then the winner get Claressa. But for next, I can see Danielle Perkins because she is the WBC Silver champion. She a promotional. She on the same side of the street as Claressa, the same advisor and everything. But she still got Shadeja Green. I like Shadeja Green fight. That might be the best fight for me for Claressa, as far as skill wise. I like that fight. She got three rematches that she can do. Savannah. You got Franchon. That one may be last, and Hannah Gabriels. I still like that. Hannah Gabriels held the two titles at 175 before. So I don't think it'd be an issue. And they got a storyline. So I think those names right there is perfect. And then, of course, I always want to see Raquel Miller. So all those ladies right there, they've been fighting at 68 and 75. I don't think she have to go back down to 60. She can have those ladies come up to her or meet them at 68 and do some business.
Now, and I love the way you laid that out. And I want to know, is there any interest in Savannah Marshall, either in the PFL situation where these girls meet in the cage, or the fight? I don't really like the fight because I feel like Savannah Marshall needs to defend against Green or rematch Cruz Dezern. But is there any interest perhaps more so in, I guess, the PFL matchup between these two, or we need to stay away from that?
Yeah, I want to stay away from PFL myself, but that might be the more realistic option because Claressa wants Savannah to come to the United States, and I don't think Uncle Peter can come. You know what I'm saying? So that's an issue. Well, I'd much rather see her fight Shadeja Green, Franchon Cruz, Raquel Miller, and running back with Hannah Gabriels. I think the people would want to see. They know these names, so instead of facing the girls in Australia first, fight some of the girls that we already know. Especially if you're gonna do it in the D. So yeah. So I don't know about Savannah coming over here because she won that fight in the United States. I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Yeah, Savannah hasn't been over here since she debuted on the undercard of that Mayweather joint, but of McGregor Mayweather actually. But what went under the shifting gears, just as far as the weekend recap, what went under the radar? Raven Chapman. Now, she won by unanimous decision, and I had admitted as such because I had my eye on Karis Ardingstall. That's kind of my dark horse, I appreciate her. I like, you know what I'm saying? Like, listen, I got love in my life. I'm a married man. I like her and Lauren Price. I like that they got love. I like the way they roll it. But Raven Chapman has been forgotten about, and I got edified. I got educated on her, man. Now she picked up a WBC International. Now we know that Tiara Brown got a WBC Silver. We know that Sky Nicholson is a WBC champion. So I'm asking myself, and I'm asking you, do you think Raven Chapman should maybe go the IBF route, or should she stick to her guns and kind of is it crowded over in the WBC side of things? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it is crowded right now because Tara Brown got a leg up because she won the eliminator in the
Mm-hmm.
WBC. So Raven haven't. So I see her. She got high rankings in the IBF. Hey, that makes sense because Nina Minky, she's number one in the IBF and WBA. She can go down the WBA route. We gotta see what Amanda Serrano gonna do with that other belt. Now, as far as the WBO, Amanda ain't vacating that WBO. That's gonna be the last one she vacates. So if it works out where the WBA is vacated, then Mickey can go down that route, and then you will get a good matchup between Bermudez and Raven Chapman. That's a good matchup, especially that style. So yeah, I like the IBF route, and then she can meet the winner of Scott Nicholson and Tara Brown for unification. So it make the fight even bigger.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm totally in agreement. I like that IBF route. And she may run into Caddis Ardingstall in that IBF route. You know what I'm saying? Ardingstall is ranked number 6, I believe. And she's ranked, Ardingstall is also ranked number 6 in the WBA. So Chapman and Ardingstall, it's the same thing I was saying about Tiara Brown. I wasn't trying to pit her and Chapman against each other, but I'm like, everybody can't, sometimes you got to knock off your rival to absolutely secure your position. And the good thing about it is we got UK fighters involved, because if somebody loses, we know we don't do like over here. They don't do like over here. Like, they throw you away. They disrespect you because you got a loss, not recognizing that you may have fought against your contemporary and got in a time where you guys were maybe at your prime, or maybe where y'all were early, and then somebody's whatever it is, man. I do like the fact that it is shaping up. The featherweight division is kind of shaping up. You mentioned what Amanda Serrano is going to do with that WBA. We'll kind of see how those chips fall. Now, let's shift gears, talking about the Olympics a little bit. I made it my duty to pay more attention this year to the women's side of things. Of course, Andy Cruz saga and Shakur's history and all that, but it's been different this year. And I mentioned Shakur because there's degrees of separation. I'm talking about Jajaira Gonzalez. She had a pretty tough road in the Olympics. In the first round, she drew welterweight Estella Mosley, as formerly Estella Mosley Yoka from France. Then she turned around and drew Beatriz Ferreria. I didn't mention both of these ladies are professional fighters. And Jajaira, as much as she's been around the pro game, she is, an Olympian. Um, do pros have any do they belong in the Olympics, man?
I think when they at a certain level, they don't.
Mm.
So like in this case, Ferreira, she's a world champion. Mosley, she won like the IBO. She was an interim champion, European. I feel like they already established, and Mosley won the gold before, right? So
Yeah.
I feel maybe an up and coming fighter that maybe don't have the accolades as a pro, maybe, but it's too many pros in the amateurs, and it kind of watering it down. So it's not like how it was for us growing up. We all got the young guys that never touched pro experience. Now we got guys that got like 16, 17 fights and fighting in the pros. So it's like, it's crazy. But I thought Gonzalez did a good job. The first fight was a good job.
Yeah.
I thought that fight clear. And that 5-0 against Ferreira, I didn't agree with that. I thought it was close. I think Ferreira may have edged it out, but 5-0 is like, dang, you know what I'm saying? That's crazy to me.
I think too, it's also a sign that Jajaira need to, kind of, make a decision on what she wants to do. Is she going to turn pro or what happened? Because sometimes, and I saw it with on the men's side of things. I forgot the brother's name, Joshua. I can't remember, but he was a heavyweight
I know
Olympian.
you're talking about, yeah, Josh,
And you
yeah.
can tell too much of a pro style that he's learning in the gym. There's no real sense of dedication to the amateur style. He's only an amateur in the sense that he's inexperienced, but not an amateur in a sense of, technique, like craftsmanship. So fighting very pro style, very gym, bobbing and weaving, which don't get you no points. It's just not a good. So I still like to say sometimes you got to move away from that Olympic style if you have intentions of turning pro. And then maybe, Jajaira, she's been around for a little while. But I just gotta say this about the Olympics, man, because I seen what's happening, man, and I can't be one to shy away it because I am the warden of women's boxing, and this community supports me. They recognize me as such. I'll be damned. I don't know what's wrong with this wacky Olympic committee, but please, we have to protect our women. We got to protect our women. You cannot allow biological men to fight in the Olympics. It's ridiculous. I don't care about nobody's pronouns or preferences. It's about protecting human lives. I did a show on it a couple years ago. Shout out to Mario Munguia. There's a difference in punch velocity. There's a difference in bone density that we're talking about. And then you're talking about an element of hormone usage that these individuals are allowed because of their personal choice, and it gives them an unfair and dangerous competitive advantage. So please, please, if there's any fighters that's gonna face any of these individuals, yo, do some black fist shit, man. Come on, tell you what I mean? Like, get up out of there, man. Fuck that, man. Boom. I'm here with you. You know what I'm saying? I got you. Flowers at the gate. If you come to Newark Airport, if you fly to EWR, King I mean gonna be throwing flowers at you, pumping that fist for you. So please stand tall. I implore you, sisters. Yeah, man. So I got to say that, Bug. I got to say it, man. Got to do it, man. And while I'm at it, talking about justice, I just want to mention real quick, Nisa Rodriguez out of New York City. Former teacher, current New York City special response officer, single mother of a 15-year-old amateur. I know a little bit about her, and what I do know is that she's 2-0. She's off to a pretty good start. Lots of New York State national championships, and she's going to be honored. What is it? September 15th for the International Women's Boxing Hall of Fame and also the New York State Boxing Hall of Fame as the prospect of the year for 2024. And it's a great honor. You hip with Nisa Rodriguez?
Yep. I'm hip to her. Hey, she a jack of all trades. She do everything. You know what I'm saying? Salute to her. That's a great honor to be prospect of the year, getting those accolades. and I think she can win the world title as well, especially at 160. And we have to see what Claressa do with those belts. She can be, and she viable enough, she marketable enough. Top Rank can put her back on one of their shows. I think they having one in New York, September 27th. Throw her back on there, get her in the mix, and yeah, that's good because I believe she got the amateur background to parlay that at these at 160 at the middleweight. She can win the title. So yeah, man, salute to her. I'm definitely hip. She looked good in her last fight as well. So I just want to see more of her.
Absolutely, man. And she is representative of what boxing is, man. Like, you just have to keep honing your craft until you get your opportunity. And, for her to have this opportunity at this stage in her life. And also, like you said, she is a jack of all trades. I think she bears a striking resemblance to Rosario Dawson. And I say that as in she has a look that can be marketed, which, listen, you saw the GWOAT busted out. Every now and again, you got to bust it out, man. You got to show, you got to put it on, man. So, at yeah, Boog, I mentioned that it's, I'm proud of, women's boxing because there's a point to some of these fighters. They might have spent more time being fighters than they have been being women. They grew up as girls fighting, and then you turn a certain age, and then you become a woman, and it's like, yo, I still have to embrace that part of me. So, they, as women and as people, they go through stages where, in minutes, we all go through a certain level of scrutiny. But imagine growing up in front of the world in that way, and such a grueling physical sport. Then you got to have the mental fortitude to maintain. So that's why, women's boxers are very admirable in the way they carry themselves, man. So, Nisa Rodriguez, again, representative of that, New York City police officer, NYPD Blue. You know what I'm saying? I ain't in no trouble, but, frisk me. I'm tripping today, man. Look, and I didn't want to get you in nothing with the Olympics though, man, because I stepped right in it. You might have a sponsorship or something. I got to keep you clean, man.
Hey, it's coming, but no, man. Speak your thing, man. I agree with you though, because I feel like with the transgender thing, right? If it's such prevalent thing in the sport, why can't y'all do your own league with the same,
If you got
you know,
enough.
the same gender or the same marker? That's what they call it now. You can change your marker to a male, female. So how about you do that and keep it, create a league, and let's see if and let's put on an even playing field because that right there was crazy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And because when they do that too, it's like you get a different identity. I remember, like some people, when you go through certain cases and you get the charges dismissed, they expunge all your felonies. So now with some of these fighters, they change, their identity, and they had X amount of records as an amateur or even as a pro, and that identity gets scrapped because all of a sudden they want to be somebody else today. So, you have credentials and experience that you're abusing the next fighter in the ring because you're hiding, so, we got to protect our fighters, man. But speaking of, true to the bone, sweet Caroline, fight week, we're talking about the one and only Caroline Dubois, natural born woman. We are going to talk about her in a match that I know she's ready for, and this is going to position her for a showdown, but I think there's going to be some relinquishment. Let me get to it. I'm talking about she's fighting Mayra Moreno of Argentina, 14-1 with 3 knockouts. But guess what happened? As accomplished, and by the way, Mayra Moreno is the WBC interim title because our dear friend Katie Taylor, she won't let go. She's holding on to these titles. And Moreno is the is it Monero or Moreno? I don't know. Monero?
I think it's like I think it's Monet. It's something like
Yeah.
that. I'm gonna go with your
I think I was doing it justice. Yeah, but
Monet. Yeah,
you know, Taylor's holding these titles hostage and she's really doing a disservice. However, both of these young ladies, again, they're creating opportunities because the winner of this match, they're going to have to see what Taylor's going to do with that WBC title. And the UK, they would love for Dubois versus Taylor, even though I know you got a lot of the hardcores are going to immediately say, well, boxer doesn't do business with matchroom. I think the landscape is changing. So if that bout is available, that's cool. But I feel like Taylor's going to stick around at 140. I don't know. What do you think, man?
This is a great fight for Caroline because Monet, she's coming to fight, and she got two good wins on her resume. You know what I'm saying? She beat two former with Sanchez, and she beat Erica Farias.
Mm-hmm.
So those are good wins, and she's tough. I watched her fights, man. She coming to bring it, and I like Caroline LeBron in the southpaw stance, going to the body, turning and doing what she do. So I think this is a good opportunity to get the WBC interim. I think she'll get elevated after that. She also has the IBO, so she can bring stuff to the table. And there's some good fights to be had in that division. The winner between Terry Harper and Rihanna Dixon, I take that. That should be a fight that should be able to make. Hopefully, it don't be no Cold War with Matchroom and Boxer because at the end of the day, um, these fighters don't got nowhere to go. You know what I'm saying?
No.
They got to fight each other. Beatriz Ferreria is the IBF champion. She'd be coming back into the fray. So they got to fight each other at the end of the day. So I'm looking forward to it. I think she's going to put on a good performance, but it's going to be a tough fight, though. It's not nothing she's just going to run through. I think she'll probably win like 7-3. You know what I'm saying? Good, clear decision.
And I think she's going to be prepared for this one because she definitely had the preparation. She has a win over the only opponent that's actually beat Moneo, who's Yanina Lescano. And that was a tough fight. That was a pretty tough fight for Dubois. It was definitely she had to put on her thinking cap and get through it. But I'm with you. I think that Dubois figures it out, figures out her opponent, puts on a good performance, and kind of declares herself, as I've been calling her, the landlord of 135. We got to spin the block right quick, man. I forgot about the Bantamweight tournament, man. Let's talk about that before we get up out of here. Um, I have had the pleasure of interviewing Sharetta Metcalf, so I became a fan, a friend, and I've been definitely speaking because I literally became a fan because of the fight. It's Wednesday night, looking for as hardcores do. We, driving through the block, looking if you see something, and I happened to see her versus Mio Yoshida. And I happened to see her work her jab because the jab will take you around the world. And every time Yoshida ducked her head and wanted to go for a swimming, she wanted to go breaststroke. Metcalf lifted her up with a mighty, mighty uppercut or a nice, 1-2. And it was just an excellent performance. And I said, wow, bantamweight division is popping. Then I saw Yoshida and Ebony Bridges. And then we seen, what happened, the upset, Shanika Johnson and Nina Hughes. The bantamweight tournament, what do you think of how it's been composed? What do you think of who has the advantage and overall? What are your thoughts?
I like the idea of the tournament. You'll get clarity in that division, which I think we still need. I think Thorson may be the number one fighter, but still we have to see the fights. The ladies haven't been getting opportunities, so this will keep them active, and they'll be fighting for titles in every fight, even with the IBO champion Valet. So I feel like it's a great opportunity for these ladies to get back, bring another spotlight to women's boxing for sure. I think Nina Hughes will have a chance to win that tournament as well. It's a lot of girls that I think that can win it. I think it's really
Jamie
up
Mitchell's in there.
Jamie Mitchell, former world champion, trying to get her opportunity back. So I feel like even though I think Thorson is number one, I think it's opportunities for the other ladies to win. So it's probably, I can see like 4 or 5 actually winning that tournament, depending on the draw. So yeah, man, let's get it. Hopefully Lou and whoever can put it together, let's get it because I think it'll do well if they put it, especially for the hardcores like ourselves. But I just think it's a good thing. I like tournaments in boxing, no matter what division it is, because you get some clarity and you'll know who the best. So yeah, let's get that.
Thorsland, I was high on her last two performances, not so much. I mean, again, skill wise, I like her, but I'm questioning the quality of opponents. I know Sarah Seton was highly ranked, but I'm just like, you have to kind of mix it up a bit. At least, when some of these girls mix it up with the UK fighters or the Australian fighters, it's a little bit more. a better idea of the parity, you know, of like, okay, you can kind of look for common opponents and say, all right, maybe there's, you know, some former Olympians, Team GB fighters, but Dina Thorslund has been a little bit thin fighting over there in the Nordic countries. So I need her to come at least to the UK. You know, she got it somewhere where I can really get a good eye on her against a good opponent. So maybe Nina Hughes, who's hungry for a shot, waiting for that WBA, right? Um, you know, maybe that's the fight because I need to see her challenge. And I think the pressure, and I don't really have to pop, but the pressure and the combinations, you know, and Thorslund is kind of the same fighter, but maybe a little bit more stronger, maybe can punch a little bit more. I think that's probably maybe the trickiest matchup. I'm most curious about a matchup like again a Jamie Mitchell and Thorslund. I wonder how that one goes. I also wonder how Shanika Johnson, because even though it was mostly just the jab seemed to be stiff enough to kind of like derail Hughes's plan. So I want again Thorslund. I don't know who she's fought. I don't know who she's ate punches from, but suppose she get in front of Sugar Neeks and that jab hurt her a little something. Suppose Sharetta Metcalf's volume gives her a problem. Hell, suppose Ebony Bridges' tenacity, pun intended, gives her some problems. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I gotta see Thorslund tested, man. So she might be the #1 seed because she's unified, but she might not be qualified. And I think bouts with her against the field will be quite satisfying.
Yeah, that's why I want to see it. And I would have one alibi though. They gotta take Shannon Courtney out for me. She haven't been active enough.
I agree.
I like Ebony Bridges to take that spot, even if like a wild card, like if Ramla Ali can make 118, I would take that because they've been active and we know their names. But I
I got a
think it
girl we could throw in there though.
was that.
A Canadian, you know, I ups with the Canucks, right? It's interesting because I stumbled upon her preparing to interview, you know, the wrong person. But Bree Howling out of Canada,
Yeah,
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 7-0, 2 knockouts. She is. I got a few notes on her because she's
yeah.
actually ranked #9 in the WBA, 15 in the IBF.
No, that's nice. I
So, you
take.
know, just kind of throw her in there. Because again, I'm with you. Shannon Courtney has been on the downside of too many, you know, good bouts. And, you know, she's been doing good on the commentary. I seen her doing commentary somewhere. So, you know, let the babyface assassin do her thing otherwise. But throwing Bree Howling and I'm cool with that, man. Even Ramla, I don't know. Ramla should be able to make 118 because 122, you know, it's a little.
Yeah, she's not strong enough for 122.
Yeah.
Strong enough. And seeing Shanika Johnson at 118, she's strong. Like she might be the biggest one in that tournament as far as like carrying her weight and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, which is why I like again her and Thorslund, you know, her and anybody, you know, but I think you know, I'm a little biased towards Metcalf, but again, I do want to see Thorslund in more action because I don't, you know, back in the day, this was like when it was the super back in the day, fucking dinosaur. The Super 6 tournament with Andre Ward, and it was a guy named Mikkel Kessler.
Yep.
And Mikkel Kessler, the Nordic Nightmare. And everybody thought he was just going to sweep through everybody in the tournament. And they robbed Carl Froch. Mikkel
Yep.
Kessler robbed Carl Froch, and then Carl Froch turned around and got his get back and then continued on. And after that, Mikkel Kessler, once he got in that Super 6, it seemed like he kept getting his ass handed to him. So I don't know if I have a predisposition to Nordics coming over, mixing up and getting their ass handed to him. Not that I want to see that happen to Thorslund, but I want to see her properly vetted is what I'm saying.
I get you. I get you. And I agree with you 100%. And if she get in that tournament, she will. Because I think those ladies will give her a run for her money. For sure.
Absolutely, man. Listen, we've come to the end of this one. I think this was good, man. I appreciate the you know, the opinions, the insight, and everything you offer, man. And I can imagine this might not be a one-off, man. You might have to come back to the table with me a time or two, man. This was fun.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you for having me, man. You know what I'm saying? It was great, going back and forth because you can't find a lot of people that sit down and talk about women's boxing for an hour, half an hour, however the case is. So it's always great to do that. Shed some light to the sport, drop some knowledge, make sure everybody know what's going on. So that's what we're here for. I appreciate you, bro.
And you make sure everybody know where they can find you.
Oh, yes, sir. You can find me on Twitter, X, Boog Williams. You know what I'm saying? Feel free to tap in with me. I'm always on there, talking my stuff. You can also find me on Instagram, L Does Boxing. YouTube, L Does Boxing. Got me a little boxing channel over there. Feel free to come over there and tap in. And we all over, man. We're just trying to enhance the sport with knowledge, make sure everybody know what's going on. We dropping gems, we predicting fights, we doing everything. Trying to call it before it happened. Women's boxing, men's boxing, we got it all covered. So feel free to tap in, man. I appreciate you.
No, for sure, man. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, another one in the books, the championship rounds, man. You know, this is what we do. Women's boxing is boxing. Boxing is this thing of ours. Boog, until next time, brother.
Yes, I appreciate you.